One of your important roles, you are a poultry specialist, I understand.
Yes.
You're not a vet.
No, I'm not a vet, I'm a scientist.
That's an advantage, I think, to many people. You are particularly interested in smallholder poultry, and you also run this network, a network newsletter on family poultry that is an international newsletter, I understand.
Yes.
Okay, so well, particularly of interest to us from your perspective is how vulnerable you don't have yet in Senegal. You have not had recorded avian flu.
Yeah,
but I want to know, one is, what have you been doing in terms of preparedness for should you get avian flu, and number two, from your expertise in the vulnerability side, what are the issues? How vulnerable? What does avian flu do to smallholder poultry people, and how does it affect their lives and their livelihoods?
Yes. I must admit I was very concerned when I learned about the outbreak of I'm used to talk about Newcastle disease, of the avian-influenza in Asia. And 1 year later, I give this interview to a newspaper, so to sensitize authorities to make sure that the virus will not be introduced into the country, because we have enough problems in getting all avian disease under control.
And do your authorities read the newspaper?
I hope. If you see, it was given on February 2004.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're thinking ahead.
Yeah. But so far, we have not yet any case of avian influenza.
Where is the risk going to be? What is the risk of avian flu? How is it going to come into Senegal if it comes?
Yes. My supposition is it will come through smuggled carcasses. Or
smuggled carcasses.
Because we know that if there is an outbreak somewhere, of course we can make control of all these imports, etc. But if you don't trace the products from the origin, of course, if there is one outbreak in one country, they can products can be imported in another country, and so that they can change the identity or the citizenship of the product.
Where is the big where is the big risk? Where is the source of the big? Or maybe you don't want to point your finger.
Yeah, but from South Asia.
We're in international presence of international organizations here. We have to be careful.
Yeah, the big risk will be from Asia. Also, we are far from Asia, but we know that.
So migratory birds not an issue for you, as far as you think.
No, so far, yes. Maybe migratory bird can take a role. This is the reason why we have a surveillance network, and we are observing at the reservoirs, because in the northern part of Senegal we have reservoirs where some migratory birds can spend some time in certain months of the year. So we are watching around, and so far we have gathered some samples sent to our lab, and there is no case so far.
Okay, quickly. So you think the risk is from carcasses?
Yes.
If and when it comes in, how would it behave? What would be the pattern? Would it spread fast?
It will be very, very bad, because if the virus comes into at village level, the big problem, my main concern, is about compensation of farmers, because in rural areas.
Would the government? You say compensation. Would the government immediately come in with a stamping out, a poultry destruction program?
Yes, I think they will not succeed, because.
But that's what they would do.
Yes, if they can try to do. But once farmers learn about the outbreak somewhere, they try to sell before the government comes, because in the past there was bad experience with the government collaboration. There is no trust, because the birds...
Past broken promises.
Yes. The birds in the village is not just products with economic values. Birds is integrated into the cultural, socio-cultural, and religious lives of the people. And they cannot understand just when you come and say your bird is worth $1, we will give you $1. It's not correct, because the birds in rural areas has more value than just the economic value. But yeah.
Can I ask you, why hasn't it spread to Senegal already then?
I don't know, but I cannot, because we have it in Burkina Faso, it's close to Senegal. In Niger, we have it. I don't want to be, because I have my colleague from Nigeria, because
he's been very open.
But he's a very good friend,
absolutely.
And I'm very happy to meet him because we have been exchanging very emails. But the fact that there is outbreak in Niger, close on the border with Nigeria, is that given some reactions from Nigerian farmers saying that the government, if they say we should stamp out, they will not reimburse us the value of our birds. We prefer to smuggle into other countries so that we can get higher prices, so that we can sell.
Tell me,
and of course the virus can come with live animals. It's one of the assumptions we have. Yeah.
What have you done in order to prepare some of the smallholder producers for eventualities in terms of education and these? I think from your statistics, 20% of your poultry is commercial and 80% is family poultry.
Yes.
What have you been doing on that front?
Yes, what we can.
And what do you think are the important things that should be done, even if they're out of your reach?
Giving much information to farmers at village level.
What sort of information?
To say that if they have some cases, they should report it very quickly, so that sample can be taken and investigation be made.
But what about actions? I mean, how should they? What can they do at the village community level to actually mitigate risk and respond, rather than just informing authorities, who you just now told me the authorities are not very keen on informing the authorities, and they don't trust them. But what can they do themselves? I mean, what measures can villagers do themselves to avoid risk to themselves, to avoid risk to other poultry?
One action is maybe when they bring birds to the markets, they should not bring it back home. If the bird is not sold, they try to, because this is the best way to disseminate the...
Well, that's right. I mean, that's been the message from Asia, that the markets, the poultry markets, are the wonderful ways of spreading it right. But have these messages already been transmitted to, by your group in Senegal?
Yes, we are trying to send information using local languages, using radios.
What is the best way of doing that? How do you actually do that? It's easy to say informing people and making them aware. How do you actually do it? You go around and you have to go from village to village and if so, you know, what is the method of communication?
The best method, as usual, we use the Office of the Livestock Services, because they have office in all parts of the country. If they get the information, they can go at grassroots level and make close contacts, daily contact with farmers, so that they can use the opportunity to sensitize them and to give them information. Is the only way we can do. And on the research side, we are making analysis of samples, and we are reporting back to the veterinary services, who has to report to the farmer at grassroots level. And we also use radio talks to try to get the information to the farmers, because the farmers are located in various areas, and most of these areas are not very accessible.
Have you ever gone back to then find out how successful those sort of things are? In other words, you go, having gone through with some sort of a campaign for education, and then you go back in to verify. Is that something that is worthwhile doing?
So far, as long as we have not any cases, and from the radio we listen from the radio that there are some suspicious, and the samples were sent, and from that point we can see that it works. But so far, since we have not yet any cases, it's very difficult to have the feedback. Yeah?
What proportion does poultry play in some typical village settings, smallholder settings, in parts of, given other enterprises that people have?
No. Almost all households have family poultry flocks, almost. we estimate that more than 85% of households have.
And then within their their sort of all their livelihoods, what role does poultry play vis-à-vis small ruminants or cattle or other crops?
Actually, poultry play the role as the coins.
It's the sort of cash.
Yeah, cash.
Yes.
If you have emergencies, you sell poultry. If you have sick persons, you sell chickens to buy medicine, and sometimes school fees also are paid through the sale of chickens and their products.
Dr. Guéye, thank you very much indeed.